Hebrews 11:1 Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Haré we live on proposition 26 como reaction as progress. Sometimes there appear Ralph, violent and impetuous spirits who are nevertheless catward they conjure what again a past face of mankind. They serve as proof that the new tendency by which they are opposite are still not strong enough, that something is lacking there. Otherwise, those conjured would be opposed more effectively. For example, Luther Reformation proves that in his century all the impulses of freedom of the spirit were still uncertain, delicate, juvenescent science cum nap yet raise her head. Eating the Joel Renaissance appeared like an earliest sprint which almost hit snow away, but in our century too, Schopenhauer metaphysics proved that the scientific spirit is still not strong enough. Thus is Schopenhauer teacher the whole medieval Christian work view and Philip of Man Kung again celebrating a resurrection despite the defeat losing absence of all Christian dogmas. His teaching is infused with much science, but what rules in is not science, but rather the whole well-known metaphysical Nick, certainly one of the greatest and two-way inestimable benefits we gain from Schopenhauer is that he forces our feeling for a time back to older powerful force of contemplated the work and men to which other bands could not so readily link us. Readily links historian Hastings benefits greatly. I believe that without Schopenhauer and know what today can also easily be too hostile to Christianity and its Isang discussing to attempt to do so based on the Christianity still existing today is impossible only after this great archive of hunties, only after we have quarantine. In second essential point, the historical way of seeking down the enlightenment brought with it may we was a carry or the banner of the enlightenment, the banner with the names Petrarch, Erasmus, Voltaire, out of a reaction we have taken a step forward. Some substitute for religion one seek his speaking well of philosophy when he present in as something to it religion for in the people in spiritual economy transitional sphere of soap are in necessary occasionally for the transition from religion to scientific contemplation is violate dangerous leap something inadvisable to that extent if it is arranged to recommend philosophy what in the end one on to understand than the need which religion has satisfied, which philosophy is now to satisfy, are now unchangeable. This need themselves can be wicked and rooted out. Seek for example of Christian anguish, the signs about inner depravity, concert about salvation of these ideas originate only from error of reason and discern satisfaction back annihilation. Philosophy gap can be useful either by satisfying those needs or by eliminated that for they are adwired needs temporarily limited based on example that contradict those of science. It is preferable to use art for this transition for easing and hard over that we feeling those ideas are internet much less by art that by a metaphysical philosophy beginning with art what can more easily move on to a truly liberated philosophical science. The reputable work with those tedious words out, where optimists and pessimists every day there is less and less cost to use them. Only Babylard still cannot do without them, for why win the work? Should anyone want to be optimist if he does not have to defend a gap to who must have created the best of all possible work, given that he himself is goodness and perfection? What seeking person still need the hypothesis of a gap, knowing their cause for a pessimistic confession is if what does not have an interest in irritating the outspoken, of gap. The theologians or the theologians philosopher and energetically asserted the opposite claim, namely that evil reigns, that pleasure is greater than pleasure, that the work is a work of the manifestation of an evil wing to life. But who worries about theologians these days, except the theologians? All theology, if opposition aside, it is self-evident that the word is not good and not evil, let alone the best or the worst, and that this concept good and evil makes sense only refers to men, perhaps even there as they are generally used. They are now justifying we must in every case dispense with the rivaling and the glorifying view of the work. Intoxicating by the blossom fragrance, the shape of mankind, it is so has an ever greater draft. The more is laden. It is believing that the deeper man seek, the more delicate his feeling, the higher he esteems himself, the farther his distant from the other animals, the more he appeared as the genius among animals, the nearer he will come to the true essence of the work and knowledge of in. These ideas indicate true science, but he does is more through his religions and arts. These are to be surg a flower of civilization, but by no means near to the root of the word than is Tengo, than is its extent. One does not understand the essence of things through art and religion, although nearly everyone is of that opinion. Error has made man so delicate inventing a story for sans blossom as religions and arts, pure knowledge who have been incapable of in whoever reveals to us the essence of the word would disappoint us almost unpleasantly. It is not the word as a thing in Ibsen ban the word as idea, as error, that is so rich in meaning, deep, wonderful, pregnant with happiness and unhappiness. This conclusion leads to a philosophy of the logical denial of the word, which, by the way, can be combined as well with a practical affirmation of the word as with its opposite. Error about life necessary for life. Every belief in the value and worth of life is based on impure thinking and is only possible because the individual sympathy for life in general and for the suffering of mankind is very widely developed, even among men who seek visual themselves and all do not focus on life in general, but rather on limited parts of it. If one knows how to get his attention primarily on essential, that is on the grain talents and pure soul. If one takes their coming into center to be the goal of all work evolution, and rioses in their activity, then one may believe in the value of life, for one is overlooking other men, which is to say, seeking impurely. Most men, however, tolerating life without grumbling too much and believe in the value of existence precisely because everyone wills hilsen halom the grace lack of fantasy from which he suffered keeps in from emphasizing with other beings. On the other hand, whoever would be truly able to participate in ink would have to despair about the value of life. He could grasp and feel mankind overall consciousness in Hilsen who collapse with occurs against existence. For mankind as a whole has no goals, and therefore man cannot find his comfort in it, but rather his despair. But who is capable of this? Certainly only a poet, and poets always know how to comfort themselves. Some reassurance bandas snap our philosophy, then enter into trajectory does not true become an enemy of life, a which John says to way though our tongue yet not wanting to be after whether one is capable of remaining in untruth, for there is no oath anymore. Morality to the extent that it was and on has been destroyed by our way of reflection. Can allow only pleasure and unpleasure, benefit and arc as motive, but on which this motive can to tear with the feelings for true. Whole human life is a static in and trunk. The individual cannot pull in out of this world without glowing profoundly out with his entire past. If this is true, is there only one way of thinking left with despair as a personal aim? A question is that among temperament determines the unsatisfied the of canonic. One could imagine a different life, much more simple, more free of affect. Finally, one would live a movement and which himself as in nature without praise, reproaches or over zealousness. One will be free of appearance and would no longer feel than one was more than nature, rather a man free from the chains of life who live only to better his canonic. Well, for today. My friends, stay aware, take care of yourself and we'll see each other tomorrow. Tomorrow. Maybe. Maybe. Okay. Bye. Goodbye.